Please note, this video is about the extension of consciousness. Every human soul passes through the stages of development shown. It is wrong to associate them with categories like good-bad, stupid-smart, etc. All stages are of equal importance. People behave according to their respective consciousness. People with a different consciousness, however, show serious differences that are presented. The photos and video clips shown are non-binding symbol images. The author does not claim to have correctly assessed the people shown. Most baby souls live in third world countries under the protection of extended families. There they can, because of various diseases, also leave the body early if life becomes too threatening. These souls are the most anxious at all and constantly look for the proximity of the mother, especially in the first years of their lives. All their attention is devoted to the body and the satisfaction of its needs. In Germany, about 6% of the population are baby souls. Some of them are handicapped people who, thanks to the prevailing prosperity, can be provided for all around. The baby soul feels most comfortable when it can constantly enjoy physical contact. Helpless in life, she feels comfortable and secure only in the extended family, surrounded by many relatives. Baby souls are not able to develop far-reaching thoughts or actions. They do not have any influence on society and do not assume any self-responsibility. They feel unjustly expelled into the cruel, cold world of older souls. The baby soul enjoys a still largely unhindered connection to the soul worlds. Although the divine is perceived as omnipresent, it is threatening, punitive, and evil. The baby soul adopts the religion of its parents. This usually has pantheistic features. Unconscious fears are her constant companion. Baby souls avoid direct eye contact. They also often suffer from eye diseases. The baby soul cannot imagine that other people have different knowledge, thinking and feeling than they do. Psychology describes this as the absence of a theory of mind. When the childhood environment is experienced as hostile, retreat occurs and autism can develop. Baby souls and autistic people cannot lie because everyone knows the same as they think. If the enmity is experienced later in life, cruel acts of violence can occur. The baby soul learns without the division of actions into good and bad. One can, however, condition them to a behavior conforming to society. They can read, write, and learn the multiplication tables. However, they are not enthusiastic about higher education. The baby soul only feels love in the form of sexual lust. She wants as many offspring as possible in order to be provided for in old age. These souls continue to choose sheltered living conditions and carefully approach the challenges of life. Like small children, they need an environment that is still largely intact and manageable in a larger extended family or in traditional societies with little social dynamism and stable conditions. In childhood, the incarnated child soul adopts unshakable views from the people around it. These give her apparent security and support in the turbulence of life. When someone takes a different view, open hostility can easily arise. The child soul becomes more adaptable to the difficult conditions of incarnation. She lives between painfully felt dependence and the desire for independence. She is finally ready to explore the world, the you, the other. Her attention is carefully directed to the outer world, which she conquers and slowly grasps. The child soul realizes that through its actions it either becomes a victim himself or makes others a victim. Like children after the age of 5, the child soul increasingly loses her connection to inner truth. She therefore begins to punish people who get guilty herself. However, she does not yet accept any responsibility for the consequences of her deeds. The ones up there, or the others in general, are all to blame. She accuses social grievances, but does nothing to change anything. Instead, she goes into the role of the victim. The child soul relies in a multitude of good and bad instances. she firmly believes in the power of evil. Through her prayers, she wants to force the gods to do what she herself cannot do. Towards the end of the cycle, the child soul begins to believe in a single authoritarian God. Child souls are often unfocused, easily irritable, and unhappy for a long time without knowing the reason. They are like little children who have reached the limits of their physical capacity and do not know how to deal with their tiredness and irritability. Many countries of the third world are mostly inhabited by the baby and child souls. In the industrialized countries, a high proportion of child souls can be found among the rural population and in the slums of the big cities. The fourth chakra, the heart chakra, acts preferentially on the thymus gland. About this chakra, feelings such as love, devotion, compassion are controlled, affection, sensitivity, joy of the heart. With child and young souls, the fourth chakra is still largely closed. Child and young souls love and do not know what love is. They are influenced by fears, but they are not aware of these fears. This is partly because the soul at this age wants to promote the development of the lower three chakras, and partly because it doesn't want the feelings of fear to get too high. The conscious perception of fear only occurs when the fourth chakra is opened. This is a task for mature and old souls. The child soul looks at her sexuality with a blurred anxiety. If society supports this, she will develop a sense of shame. The open living out of honest sexuality is rather embarrassing for the child soul. She will try to pull her compatriots down to her repressive sexual morals. In private life, the child soul is usually just as prudish. She is rather averse to any kind of sensual pleasure. The child soul leads an externally determined, still largely unconscious life. Child and young souls around the turn of time confused the law of the Old Testament with the law of a real God. They were willing to submit to the authorities and to the strict social norms. They knew no mercy to enforce them by raw power. This also applied to the majority of the population in the Roman Empire at that time, and still applies to the majority of today's world population.